Hey everyone, and welcome to Promote Hope Podcast, episode 14, Girl Talk. Today I have a guest with me. Her name is Aaliyah Taylor, and we just want to talk today just about some things that's going on in the world right now and some issues and information that we discuss as girls that I wanted to discuss and put on the podcast. Again, I'm thinking that we're dealing with these things. We're having these conversations, but we want to share them with you, and we also feel like if I'm going through them, somebody else might be going through them as well. So I brought Aaliyah here to kind of share with us another perspective. You guys always hear my perspective, but it's always good to have a homegirl. So this is Aaliyah.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. So Aaliyah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm originally from Virginia Beach, VA, in the house. No, but currently I actually live in Georgia, Stockbridge, Georgia. My husband, he is in the military, and so we're stationed out in Bremerton, Washington for a little bit. We're actually in the process of moving back our stuff to Atlanta, and he's going to San Diego. So we got that going on. I recently just graduated from college, arts administration's degree, and I'm just chilling, trying to get through COVID, really.
That's my first question is about COVID, of course. I know we're tired of hearing about COVID, but how are you dealing with it? Are you maintaining? Do you care, or are you scared? How are you feeling about COVID?
I'm feeling I'm in a weird state right now.
Okay.
I'm kind of just taking it day by day.
Okay.
It's definitely a little scary for me because I do have older parents that have, they're more at risk in receiving this virus.
Okay.
So it's definitely kind of scary, but I know that I serve a God.
Amen.
And I know that He's covering us and He got us. Mm-hmm. So just trying to keep positive.
So do you watch the news, and do you try to keep up with what's going on with everything, or do you let people tell you, what's going on?
I mean, I definitely, I try, I do. I kind of social media really helps me stay what's going on, what's trending. Mm-hmm. I do look at the news here and there, but I really try to stay away from that because I found myself when I'm so deep in it, it's kind of okay, I need a break from it. Yeah. Everything starts to get depressive around me. I just fall into depression. So I try to just fill my mind up with positivity as much as possible.
Especially living in Washington, the sun is not out all the time, so we have to uplift ourselves, right? We have to encourage ourselves, and then if we are always into the media and it's bringing us down all the time, that's just another, you know what I mean, factor.
Right.
Well, for me, the pandemic, COVID, some days I'm COVID, and then some days I'm it is what it is, at this point, but I always forget my mask. It's still not a norm to me. People are our new norm, but I forget my mask. I forget to do stuff. I'm in the store. I'm pulling my mask out on the phone, and people are looking at me hateful.
Yeah, exactly. It's
I'm oops, oh my God, I forgot.
Sometimes I have moments where it's I'm as I'm sitting in line, I'm I can't believe we're actually going through this right now. It's crazy. This is some movie stuff, some I don't know, something really crazy.
Yeah. What about the Black Lives Matter movement? How did you take that?
I'm taking it well. I think we're making things happen with action. I think that there's a lot of things that should have been addressed years ago. Okay. So I'm glad that we're coming together, Black people supporting Black-owned businesses, that should have been happened. But I'm glad it's starting to take off. People are starting to start their own crafting. I see a lot of people doing body lotion and skincare, all that. I love that. So it's definitely going to be one for the books. For sure.
And I think that we are now starting to embrace ourselves more as Black people, and I think that we are starting to learn more about our history. I have a friend who she was sharing with me I have not known so much about the history and about the movement, like about African American history until now.
Right.
So there are positives about the movement. It actually was discouraging at the beginning because, again, it was so much in the media.
Yeah.
It was so depressing, and it's just like, okay, starting to pump fear into me. Like, I got black kids, my husband's black.
Right.
Like, were you fearful for your husband?
Yeah, it's definitely it's really scary, especially like being in the military and stuff. That is, you know, it's just, there's so many stories that go on, and even, you know, certain things and guidelines in the military they have that, you know, that are coming out now, especially with hair, like locks being a thing, like in the black community. There's a lot of things that are coming to surface. So, for sure, definitely scary.
Well, did any of your, like, family or friends or anybody that you know, did they, like, have a different opinion about Black Lives Matter? Like, did anybody say, you're wrong, or, you know what I mean?
No, for the most part, I follow sane people.
Okay. So on the media, you're saying?
Yeah, on media, yeah. So, like, on Facebook, you know, I'm seeing, there's some people that I used to work with that post things that, you know, I don't agree on. But the same,
like racist posts?
Just more so their opinion, like, against it, not going for Black Lives Matter. People that I feel like they associate themselves around a lot of African American people. So I was really surprised to see the negative thoughts about this movement.
Because you view them as people that liked black people, is that what you're saying?
They just were very accepted. Like, I had a lot of interactions with these people that I work with, and it was just I was just surprised at the negative comments they've made about the movement. Especially when you have a friend that's black, you should be able to have these conversations with, you know, someone that's African American if you're unaware of what's really transpiring in the community.
Did it make you not their friends anymore? Like, you know what I mean? Or did you stay connected?
Now, I'm probably not looking at them the same way.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. But, you know, but I'm just like, I understand that some people are just not educated.
Yeah.
I think that's where you just have to realize that not everybody does their proper research and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm distant. I'm like, you know, it's whatever. You know, I try to have love for everybody, so.
But then keep in mind, have that love, but then keep in mind, you're not really for me.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah. So, you know, we're in quarantine.
Okay, yes.
You know, we're in COVID.
Yes, we're in COVID.
You mentioned that you were married.
Yes.
How has the married life been surviving through quarantine? Let me say this.
Okay.
Because I pray to God for me and Hap to have more time together.
That's true.
For me and Hap to have, you know, be working on things in our marriage. And then quarantine is here, the perfect opportunity, but it's not going the way that I thought it was going to go. So have you been surviving quarantine with your husband?
I'm surviving. I'm here when we're surviving, okay? Yes, I think I'm really thankful for this time. Like, people that know me know that I was really doing a far distance relationship.
Okay. For
the past, like, 2-3 years of my life. It's been really distant. So this year is really like my first time actually being a wife. It's very different. I'm still learning how to live with, when you have somebody living with you, it's totally different. I've always heard that, but now I'm like, okay. It's
totally different.
It's really different.
So, like, do you guys still have, like, regular date night, regular time, or is it different because of quarantine?
Well, what we're doing to stay connected, we do, like, a lot of, like, walks, runs. We did a couple vision boards. We do a lot of shopping and then, like, eating in our car type deal. We listen to a lot of motivational speaking, and we also listen to a lot of sermons. A lot of R.C. Blake, then also Transformation Church.
Woo-hoo! I was going to say, let us know some of your sermons that you listen to.
Love that.
Well, during the quarantine, what's your biggest struggle as a person? Forget, you know, the husband, just you as a person. Like, what are you dealing with during the quarantine?
I wrote some notes, so let me write it out. Let me read it to you. Okay, so facing my reality and having 2020 vision of my life
Okay.
is one of the other struggles. Dealing with being a new wife.
Okay.
And also juggling being a young adult. Weight management, eating, working out, mental state of myself and my spouse. So there's like a wave of emotions there. And then also learning to be still and trusting God has been a challenge.
Yeah, and I was in a COVID training, and they were saying, even if you did not get COVID, you're still affected.
Exactly.
And you may not be affected physically and have received it, but we're all affected some type of way. So for, us to not take it in strides and think about COVID and just try to like black it out of our minds, we really are all affected.
Yeah.
Like you just had a whole list.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, it's almost like, yes, it's like a virus that you can get in your body, but it's also like it's a mental state virus. Yeah. It's like this thing where you find yourself just, depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And side note, we are in our jammies. Nighttime girl time
nighttime
talk.
with Ivory.
So,
okay.
Nighttime
Stay
girl
tuned.
time. So you mentioned about God in your list.
Right.
And we'll talk about eating in that too.
We're not going to talk about eating with you.
We'll talk about eating after. But you mentioned about God, and I wanted to know, because it's so interesting to me that you would think during quarantine, we have all this time to be married, to invest in ourselves, to invest in the Bible.
Right.
What makes it so, how is it so cloudy right now?
I think
for the relationship with God.
I think that a lot of us don't understand like why are we in this position? Why would God put us in a position where we're out of work? We can't attend church service. We have family relatives that are dying. Even people, I know there's more. I've known more people die from not having the virus, just passing from other complications. But I think this is also a wake-up call to having, I think it's especially for believers, having faith. I think Hebrews 11:1, it says, faith gives the substance to things that we hope for. Yeah. Believing that in the midst of the storm, God's taken us through the midst of the storm, do we still have faith and do we still trust Him? And so I really I'm still having to stay still and really pray about it and really just observe, like seeing what's going on and knowing to count my blessings every day.
And how better else to grow your faith than to have to use your faith?
Right.
We want faith to just be something that we have, but not use it. Like, so what a perfect time to demonstrate faith, but then we're so mad at God. The last podcast that I just did, I was saying that a lot of times we're like, the enemy, we're mad at the enemy, but yet God is allowing it. Right. Like, God is allowing all of this to take place, whether we like it or not. Like, this is happening.
Right.
Okay? Schools closing, that is happening. Masks, it's happening. The decrease in COVID is happening. Yeah. And so I think that a lot of times we turn away from God, we get mad with God, we get frustrated with God. Like you said, why did you let this happen? Right. For me, I'm so busy in my own emotions, I forget that time.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times too, and I had to realize it too, that we have to understand that our life is not our own. Your life is not yours. God created you for a purpose. Your purpose is to be born and do what He's taught you to do. Have God's will. I think you had a podcast on God's will. And a lot of times that's the problem, is that we're so caught up in living day to day and drama, who's sleeping with who why we're clouded with things that don't matter. What are you doing? Are you walking the path that God wants you to walk with Him? And I think that this time, really, you get to really sit down and say, okay, God, what do you want from me to do? Like, sometimes we just need to ask Him, what is it that you want me to do And I had to really sit with that and journal a lot. So, yeah.
And how can you, and this is a question for you, but how can you know that you're distant from God? Like, how do you feel when you're distant? What flags raise when you're feeling like, gosh, I need to be in my word?
I feel like, man.
I'm tired. I'm cranky.
I'm tired. Depression is real. My relationship, look, girl.
Yeah.
The list goes on.
And then, because churches are closed, we don't have that. We gotta make our own. God is really letting us stand alone right now.
I mean, and I think that there's a underlining thing too with even the churches. Okay, that's another podcast. Stay tuned.
Well, God, like you told me the other day, we were on the phone and you were like, God is cleaning up house.
He is cleaning up house.
I mean, that's why.
Raising it out. And so yes, I think that even when we had, I think there was like it was a thing where you can only have 5 people like in your house at some time. Like, again, going back to these small churches where there's intimacy and you're able to ask questions because we're not able to do those during service time, and I feel like a lot of people have a lot of questions,
and God is shutting it down.
And he's saying y'all need to get in your house, y'all need to go outside, so that a lot of times we put pastors on these pedestals, but the pastors need to realize that you need to sit with the people, because that's how Jesus operated. He was out in the crowd talking to people, hugging them. Like, we need to go back to that. And I feel like not only is it a time to be still, but it's also a time to be in, like, that intimacy with God. I think it's just a bigger message. I feel like he's really putting out there.
It's a whole message. I mean, for believers, right? So for those who are saying, I'm a believer, we're getting caught up in, oh, should I wear my mask? Should I not? God said it, mask, this, that, like, wear the mask, but where the Bible at? Like, what are you supposed to be doing?
The Bible mask. Okay?
Mask yourself with the Bible.
Exactly.
But
T-shirt coming. Okay.
But honestly, like, I have to refocus sometimes and be like, God, wait, what did you tell me to do? Because I felt off. Everything started. I was so drawn in that I was just like you said, all these spirits was like taking over. Like, I was arguing with people, losing friends. I mean, having conversations that I had no business having because I don't even know all the facts. I wasn't there.
Right, exactly.
Like, just sucked into, and it was such a distraction for me.
Right.
I had to sit down in a quiet place and be like, I don't like the way that I'm feeling right now. God, where you at? A. B, is this a part of what you want me to be doing? Is this a part of what am I supposed to be doing? And then C, help me to refocus on what you told me to do before COVID even happened. Right. Because God gave me some strategic things to be doing, like start my podcast, get into my word, do this, exercise this, do that, practice this. Spend time with your family more, get your kids, so get my kids praying and reading before bed, stuff like that. And then instantly something happened in the media and I don't have time to do none of that.
Yeah, girl. And yeah, like you said about urges too, for me it's like when I'm going through things, I do have urges to pick up the word. I found myself in a period where at nighttime I would just be up just because I could not go to sleep. And I found myself going to the Word and opening up the Bible, and I turned to these pages where it's literally showing me God's anger. He's literally telling me what's transpiring, what's going on right now, how He's gonna be tearing down things, and it's so crazy to me, like seeing that anger and how He sees people. It's like it's literally everything in the Bible. You see how it's happening now. Right. It's like almost like you're viewing the world from like the past and how this has all happened before. There's nothing new underneath the sun. Okay?
Right. So. And it's interesting to me because yet and still it's all happening and yet and still we don't want to follow
Right.
We still struggle. We still have those, we don't want to get right. We just say, forget it. We give up. We quit. We don't want to, do what God is telling us to do. However, we see everything happening that God said was going to happen. Why is it still such a struggle to follow what He's telling us to do?
Right.
So, we need to get ourselves together.
YOLO. Okay.
Pretty much.
I'm praying about it.
Yeah. So, my next question to you is, we talked about some negatives, but what are some positive things that you're gaining out of quarantine and, this season? Being aware of your faith, and what are some other positive things?
What I'm doing now to stay sane?
Yeah, what came out of COVID? What was birthed from this?
Birthed from it. I think understanding on the religious side, understanding,
to slow down and being still and just enjoying the moment. A lot of times, I'm on a rush. Okay, Leah, I need to have this done. I need to have this moving. So it just kind of slowed everything down in my life and made me think about what are my goals, what I want from life, who are the people that I want in my life. And it just gave me time to know who Aaliyah truly is. And even my husband, how to be a better wife. Because there's always room for improvement. And what do I want from life? What is it that God has called me to do? How to be a better daughter. So just different things of that. Just
it's now in your spirit as this time is some downtime to yourself and everything is happening. These are the things that are in your spirit.
Right. Yeah. And I think here, even in Washington, it's nothing over here. But I think that this one guy, he actually told me that Washington is a place where you face your demons head on. And because it's such a slow paced state and it's just very kind of gloomy sometimes, you have your days, I think that it really has made me face my demons. And I'm not, fully delivered from them yet. I'm still dealing with it every day. But I'm just more aware.
And that's amazing to be aware because some people have no idea the bondage. Some people don't know how to get out or get free from the thing that's keeping them bound. I've been struggling with insecurities for, I talk about it all the time because it's one of my biggest struggles. But coming here in Washington, when it's just me and Hap, nothing else, nobody else, nowhere to run to, I had to face that insecurity head on.
Girl, okay.
I had to face that insecurity head on, and now positive coming out, I'm I did that.
Right.
I'm overcoming that.
Right.
I'm seeing myself while I am powerful with God within me. I'm seeing myself in another light in this quarantine, surviving, believing. My faith is increasing. I feel like I am growing.
Yeah, I feel too, I had to really realize that I'm harboring a lot of deep emotions that I haven't brought to the surface. So this is the time for me to really dig in with Aaliyah and cry about it, ask God for forgiveness. I feel like I'm literally purifying myself right now in this moment. I feel that I'm becoming, the chains are coming off of me in this moment as well. So definitely COVID had some great things, that brought out.
Yeah, and I got to dream again. I got to, start my podcast. I was time to hit the ground running. Let's do what we came here to do. I got to saving money, just stuff that so I made a list maybe that was August 2019. So a year ago. I made a list a year ago. Everything I wanted God to do for me.
Right.
And don't you know that list is it's almost like he's
checking it off. Yep.
Yeah. And it's I'm a little emotional because still sometimes I struggle with trusting God.
Right.
Even though He's doing it, He's doing it in the midst of COVID, in the midst of what's going on in the world. He's just still taking care of me.
Yeah.
Still making sure I have what I need. still making sure my kids are taken care of, checking it all off. My kids have been healthy. I have been healthy. My house, I haven't gone without anything. You know, I don't need anything. I'm in my right mind. Like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And it's such a blessing. And then to see God do that and a little bit of extra.
Yep. He always likes smoke.
I would have never known that I was going to be selling Mary Kay, doing a podcast. If you would have told me I was going to be doing all of this last year.
Right. You'd be like, why are you crying?
But it's given me courage to just try. I don't got nothing to lose.
Right. And I for me, I know for the longest, you know, like, I didn't have a lot of girlfriends, like, growing up. I mean, I have a few at home, but here I've been asking God, can I bring me some women that are into the church that are doing things for themselves? And it's so crazy the amount of beautiful, strong women I've met here. I mean, it's like a sisterhood. And the fact that I'm comfortable, even with you, like, you're doing your own stuff. I have so many girlfriends at home that are doing their own things. It's just amazing how God's bringing people in my life. When I felt so alone and asking God, why am I alone? I don't understand. It just wasn't my time. And I think when we realize that we don't create the timeline, God does, then you just let it be, you know. And I think that even for you, you know, you're like, I want this, and like, it's just funny how God just operates on His own timeline.
His own time. And it's funny how. Because I would not have said, okay, God, have COVID happen. So, send COVID so I can get everything or learn how to save money. Send the Black Lives Matter movement, let this happen. Allow this to happen so that, you know.
But they did say, I read today, and they said that the righteous ones should have faith.
Amen.
And then it said that because of their faith, there's rewards.
Amen.
So, have faith,
that part.
people.
That part. Well, in closing, is there anything that you want to share to the audience? Uplifting, anything that you have on your heart that you want to share? Like, it sounds like God is restoring Aaliyah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely am entering a season where I'm still, I know that I kind of want to dabble in the podcast area, create my own lines, and I'm still working with that. I'm not really rushing anything. I'm really just sitting with God and really trying to figure out a timeline for that. I'm about to start grad school, so all that too is all that making. So you haven't seen the last of me. I just want to tell you that. But I also said, I know that we kind of touched on God a lot and religion and all this other stuff, but I do have some people that may not are new to it or really have questions that really don't know. So for encouragement for the people that don't follow Christianity, I also want to encourage you guys to write a to-do list of your goals for yourself. Know that this season is temporary. Dig into a hobby you always wanted to do. Create a platform for yourself if you're into like blogging, doing YouTube, podcasts. Get into that, journaling, writing down a book. I think this is a great time to do that.
Great time.
I think also too, I also wanted to note too, maybe creating for writers journals of this battle right now. I think that looking back in a couple years through this pandemic, you'll see all your raw emotions and everything. So that's also something to document, I think, too. And also, this is history. So I think that'll be one for the books, like to create that documented.
Yeah. And I wonder why God put it on your heart to talk to people who, you know, are at the beginning stages of their faith or not really like doing the Christian walk. I wonder why God had you share specifically to them, because right now I'm going to be transparent.
Okay.
I struggled with numbers.
Right.
God will put something on my heart to do. So I was doing a Bible study at my house. And God will put it in my heart to do. And I would think that when I was doing it, it had to be like a whole slew of people coming for me to feel like God is moving.
Right.
And what he taught me is there's strength in small groups.
Right.
There is strength in connecting with people who really want it, because if you just let everybody come, surely not everybody's going to be at the same level, get it, whatever. And then just being okay with serving the one.
Yeah.
You know, just being okay with reaching out and loving the one. So when we struggle with wanting all the views, wanting all the likes, wanting people to share millions, because that's what we think is successful.
Right. And I think, too, for me, it's kind of like, because I'm into, like, ministry as well. I feel like a lot of times as Christians, we feel like we just need to talk to other Christians.
Mm-hmm. But the key is, even reading the Word, you'll notice that Jesus, he didn't come back for the righteous. Right. He came for the ones that did not follow him. Yeah. Because it's like, why would I want to minister to people that already know about me? You know, you want to continue to feel your soul, but you want to reach the ones that doubt and don't believe, and that's where you find the light at. Mm-hmm. That's how you show you are the light of the world. Mm-hmm. You know, your light should shine, and people should be kind of conflicted. You know, because you present a certain way. Yeah. So that's why I had to reach out, because I know that a lot of my friends, I have friends that don't believe. You know, and I still have love for them. Mm-hmm. So I want them to just know how to handle this pandemic, and still be okay.
Right. Yeah. And they can. Mm-hmm. They can still be okay, you know. Yeah. And I'm just grateful that I'm learning. Yep. You know, I'm learning God. God moves different. Right. God doesn't move like how I think it's gonna look and go. Right. He'll tell you to start something and do something, and only 3 people follow you. And then you be feeling like unsuccessful, like a failure. God, you told me this. I thought a whole bunch of people was going to follow me. And he was just like, I just wanted to see if you were going to be obedient. Right. You know, God just moves different, so we have to be prepared as Christians, and we have to be, you know, armored up, because I feel like, too, this is the time where people are vulnerable and ready and desiring to know more. Yeah. And if we are like pushing back, like don't you know, not creating a space, or intimidated, or don't want to talk to nobody that don't believe, you know, we're just,
because we just like to throw Bibles at them, and it's not how you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to love and be understanding, and so.
Well, that's how I came back. Yeah. Because you know I strayed away. Right. So that's how I came back, by being loved. Yep. Somebody loved me through it. Yeah. Somebody loved me despite what I was out there doing. I was at the club every Thursday. Yeah.
And people don't understand. People's one encounter with the church negatively can change their whole. I've met people that were like, the churches, they're the pastors and da-da-da-da. And like all these things that go wrong within the church, and that turns them off completely.
Yeah. So when you meet that one person that, you know, you're living a lifestyle that still embraces you and loves you, you feel that God's love, you know, and I think that's what God wants from everybody, for sure.
Especially, it'll start with us.
Exactly.
I'm down.
Yep.
If you're down.
Spread that light. Yep.
I can't wait to see your podcast. I can't wait to see you grow. I can't wait for you to look back on this video and be
girl, look at my life. It's short right now, but watch.
I can't wait for you to look back and say, wow, God. Yeah. You know, I even think about some things that I go through. I've been through with the pregnancies and everything. I thought I was not going to make it. Right. And like you said, this season is temporary.
It's temporary.
Mm-hmm. And God will bring us out.
Yes.
Better if we allow him to.
Exactly.
So either you're going to be bitter or you're going to be better.
Right. 100%. This weight is temporary.
And I'm bitter about it.
But you're going to be brighter on the other side.
In 2021.
Yeah.
2021, we're going to be...
We're going to be good. Look, our necks are going to be like... We're going to be snatched, okay?
Well, I thank you so much, Aaliyah, for coming to share a little bit about, you know, what's going on in the world, especially a woman of God, you know, a believer. And I just thank you for your transparency and coming on this podcast. Again, I can't wait for you to see yourself.
And thank you, Ivory. I think that we don't appreciate you enough.
Yes, you do.
Oh, I do? Well, I try. But I'm saying that I'm thankful that you've created a platform where you are informing people about things that are going on. Yeah. I loved your postpartum video, which was an amazing video with Danielle. Shout out to my girl Danielle. No, but okay. But side note. Yes, I think this is it's such a blessing how you created a space where even people, if you guys know Ivory, she always opens up her house for like everything, okay? And don't ask for a penny. So, but I'm so thankful I was able to meet you this season. I love you. You're like a sister. She has locks. She covered them today.
Yes, they are hidden.
I'm a little disappointed, but whatever. No shade, no tea.
That's okay. We'll have a lot podcast where we talk about patience, and we'll have Tina on that one.
Okay, I need a lot of patience.
Patience in your hair journey. So we'll definitely do that one. And I thank you so much for just that little bit of information that you just shared, because I get discouraged.
Girl, you gotta be encouraged. When you're feeling discouraged,
I get discouraged for sure.
Put on some Mary.
Yeah, I get discouraged for sure. I get weary. Yeah. In well doing. I get, you know, tired. I'm exhausted. Yeah. But I know for the one. Right. And I want to be obedient, and I just believe that God is allowing me to show myself faithful. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will talk to you all next week. Bye.